Hello and welcome in section 3, constructing generative adversarial networks with GANs. And we'll get started with just introducing the concept of those networks and how they really work. So what generative adversarial networks? They're basically two networks that are competing with each other. The first one we call discriminator, and its role is actually, or his role is actually distinguish between fake or real data. And in our case, in this case, fake data is the data generated by different network, and real data is the data from some kind of a data set. And then we have generator, and his role is to produce fake data and to bypass the discriminator. So it will actually trying to be really good with creating this fake data, and discriminator really is giving feedback to generator about, okay, this data is pretty good and this one is not really good. And again, when we talk about fake data and real data, we are meaning that the real data is from some kind of data set that we know about, and fake data is really something that, generative just created out of nothing, out of the noise. And yeah, the really goal of generator is to bypass discriminator, is to generate data that will be it will be as real as possible, and that will discriminator actually accept that. And the end result is really cooperation, and this might seem counterintuitive, but the actual generator is actually learning how to produce real data because it gets its feedback from discriminator. Those networks are called generative adversarial networks, but the result is that pretty much benefits from this arrangement. And what are some GANs use cases that people are really excited about them, especially in the recent years? So it's all about learning how to create realistic data, and by realistic I mostly mean the data that looks like it was created by humans. And we've got those really interesting use cases when there was images generated using GANs from ImageNet that we've mentioned in previous section that looked, as real as it can be, and actually, in many cases people couldn't distinguish them from the actual images. So those were images created just by those networks. Then of course we have this very interesting case of generating painting that looks like a masterpiece, at least in someone's opinions, and one of those paintings was sold for really a lot of money, and it was also generated by those networks. And of course there are plenty of other use cases, and one of the most accessible use case that we can actually get our hands on is handwritten symbols. So our can actually learn that in relatively short period of time, and we'll get to that in the next video. And there's many other use cases. People got really excited about this method, so I'm sure we'll see some more interesting use cases in pretty much in the next few months or few years, but those are some of the main ones that we've seen so far.